A sad tale of two of my old friends just has me thinking. So, I don't know why, but randomly out of nowhere, I just started to think about two of my old friends, from school, and how actually tragic the situation is. Because the thing about, I've been talking a lot on here about, being a kid and children, and I've been thinking a lot about how, like, as a child, you just don't know a lot of things. You know what I mean? And even like the way you behave and the things you do, you don't necessarily know why. And now that's what made me think about these friends, right? Because we started out school all in the same friendship group. And all the usual, like, teen girl nonsense aside, I was thinking about their actual home life situations. So, for the first one, I never understood it at the time, like, what she decided to do, ultimately, around this time of year, because when we first met, really sweet girl, she was actually one of the key reasons I got into dance, because she was really into it. This is why, a lot of things in my life, I'm like, I look at where I'm at now, mentally, and what I actually did so far in my life. And in all the, like, friends I feel like I've ever had, I always felt like the least talented one, like the least talented, the least intelligent, the least everything, right? So to be here now and to know what I've done already and to see where everybody turned up is kind of insane. So, and it all goes back to something my history teacher said to me in class in my last year at school. So I'm going to tell you guys the story. Secondary school this is. So when I met this girl, let's call her I literally could pick any random name. I was trying to find a name that's nothing close to her actual name. Hold on. We're going to call her Becca, right? Let's call her Becca. So I met Becca when she was like, at the very start of school. We're in the same form group. And I immediately knew I wanted to befriend her, right? Because I could just tell we would get along. And what I really liked about her is she really loved animals. Bearing in mind this is happening when we were all like 10, 11, right? She really loved animals, and so that's why she was a vegetarian, and her dream at that time was to become a vet. So this whole story is going to be like seeing like examples of just how circumstances in our lives really do beat the potential out of us, because that's the issue I have with school as well, is I feel like you end up walking out from school like with a crushed spirit and just like almost like a beggar, just hoping for whatever opportunity you can get based on what you've been told, right? And so she loved animals and she was a vegetarian, and I remember her telling me that was all because she watched a documentary where she saw what they were doing to animals, and so she'd been a vegetarian for a very long time. So I always really respected that about her. I always wanted to see her succeed with that. Very intelligent. Very, very intelligent. I would say she was more of a natural mathematician than I was, which we're going to come to that in a second. So as time goes on, we're all going through things and the friendship groups go through things and whatever. And as we're going through, right, she starts to kind of ditch school, right, which I used to ditch school if I couldn't be bothered to do. Like, if they would have like an activity day of something I didn't want to be a part of, I just wouldn't be there. Like, you guys know me. If I don't want to be involved, I'm not going to be there. I don't really care. But she wasn't just ditching school. So obviously we all grew up in the time of social media, right? Which I think played a huge factor in everything I'm about to say. So we all started to get to know, especially us girls here in this town, a lot of the guys in London, right? So that's one of the reasons why I never really was that interested in the guys at school. Because we were all talking to all these guys in London, and they were all at like the forefront of social media at the time. They used to upload these really cringy pictures, some of them, the ones she was involved with, yeah. These really cringy photos where they'd be like all there shirtless, like posing. And I was just like, I just honestly, personally, full disclosure, thought that this is so gay. But anyway. And so she got in with these guys, yeah? And what I didn't realize is that we were all having different responses to the attention we were getting, like, as girls. Because I'm assuming everybody's having the same experience I'm having, which was like, obviously, deeply Christian by this point. I've been saved for 9 years at this stage. So I'm like, look, I am interested in somebody who I want to marry. I'm not faffing around. But I did used to enjoy toying with them. I hate to say it, but it's true. I did used to enjoy toying with them. But it wasn't that deep, and I wasn't that desperate, right? Anyway, she started stitching school, and she's going off and she's hanging out with all these guys that were like what I would describe as like national celebrities in our generation. Let's put it like that. Like everyone all over the country, especially because we all had like Blackberries at the time. This is the freaking Rolls Royce I saw the other day. Oh, I have to know what it's called. I used to want the Phantom, right? It used to be one of my dream cars. But this Rolls Royce I've seen. Anyway. So, so we all were like all exposed to this. And then also we would actually talk to these people, right? Because the guys were loving it and they were getting all this attention from all the girls. So everyone's all talking to everybody. Everybody's all doing this. I even went myself to go and meet guys in London, which is crazy to think about it, right? But the thing with her is she was really going there. So like I didn't know at the time, I don't think a lot of us did really, that she was really going out there and just like doing whatever these guys wanted. Because I remember specifically there was one day we were at school and then RE, and ironically, because for a lot of us, right, you do RE, it's supposed to take 2 years at GCSE. But if they thought you could handle it, they'd put you on the fast track, which means you do it in 1 year. And then you'd spend another whole year doing like a research paper on something related to kind of faith and beliefs and stuff. So mine was about abortion. This is what I know about abortion. I have always known I would never get an abortion. I know I won't. I know I won't, and I knew I wouldn't, by the way, even when I had a miscarriage, because before I had a miscarriage, I was thinking, I have made a poor decision here, but there's no way I'm getting an abortion. Like, it's just not going to happen. And so, anyway, I was writing this abortion paper. I remember exactly. I was sitting next to her, and she was talking about how she's going to meet this guy. So he was like one of the guys in this town that like all the girls liked, and I could not stand this guy because he was the freaking egomaniac of all time. And by the way, I predicted it. I was like, watch, one day all his friends are going to end up in prison and he's going to be thriving in life. And that's exactly what happened. I found out like whilst I'd already moved out, they did a raid at 5 a.m. They caught all these guys, and he obviously off scot-free. He makes music and stuff. Like, he's kind of insane. I never liked him, and he used to kind of tease me about it. He'd be like, "Why? What is your problem with me? Like, what is your?" Because even still, I'm like, bro, you've got the attention of everybody. Everybody's like literally meat riding you. Like, why do you care what I think? Like, just get on with your day and move on. Anyway, but you could tell it bothered him, like just the fact that One person that like, and I was just like, I can't stand people like that. Anyway, so he starts talking to her, right? Obviously she's a beautiful girl and whatever. And he starts talking to her and he's like, he wants to meet her somewhere now. I said to her, I don't know where I got this level of degree of wisdoms from at this age. Like, I keep looking back at myself as a kid. I'm just like, I don't know where I understood certain things that I had no business understanding. But I said to her, I was like, you know what this means, right? Like, you know what this means if you go to see him. She was like, what do you mean? I was like, you know that he's going to try and have sex with you, right? And she was like, no, I don't know about that, whatever. And I was like, okay. Lo and behold, she lost her virginity that day, right? Fast forward, he had said a comment to her, something like, oh, you look like, by the way, guys, there's context coming in here, but I want to let the context come in when it's right. So she sounds, now all her life basically becomes about guys, yeah? And she's always talking to the guys in London, talking to the guys around here, And you see me now at this same age, I'm now thinking we're about to go to, like, I'm about to be 17, I'm getting a job. You know what I mean? I'm like, I need to go to the gym. I need to take dance classes. Like, I was so focused on my goals, yeah? And that's not a good thing either, because I've realized that a lot of the things, my obsession with winning is like, I feel like it's the only thing anyone has ever shown me true respect for. And it's the only way I get respect in this life, which is why I obsess over like tangible achievements, because I know my words not respected, my feelings not respected, my body not respected, a trophy, a certificate, a achievement, no one can take that away from me, right? So that's also a problem, right? Anyway, and I'm going to come back to that, coming back to what my history teacher said, which we'll come to in a second. So at this time, yeah, next time I see her, we're no longer really friends. We started slowly drifting apart. And the next time I see her, I'm walking in town and I see in the chicken shop, her eating chicken. So I walk into the thing, yeah, and I'm like so confused. And she's like, yeah, well, he said that. And by the way, this wasn't like, oh, they were in love and she found the love of her life. Like, she was just another one of all the girls, right, you know? And so I was in shock. Like, I was in absolute shock to see her biting into a chicken wing, right? And whatever. And it's because he told her that she was too skinny, which she was very, very slim, but that was just her body type. Like, she never had, as far as I knew, she didn't have any like eating disorder or anything. Maybe she did. But she's very slim. But I just thought, you know, some people are just naturally very slim. Like, that's how genetics work, you know? Anyway, so I remember it being the shock of my life, and I was just like, oh, and in my head as a kid, I was thinking, oh, how could you have let yourself like change like this for this idiot, like for this buffoon, right? But now I get it, right? Because there's context. What I didn't know, which I found out later down the line, we'll come to that. So next thing you know, it's about this time of the year, we're coming into our exams, she's not in school almost at all. And we know that she's been staying with some dude in London, and pretty much as long as she's sleeping with him, he's allowing her to stay at his house. And it's all a horror show, because the thing is, one of the guys, yeah, he's one of the most famous ones. He's famous now. He's famous as a dancer now. Before he was just making dance videos. Now he's properly like famous dancer. And every time I see him, I'm just like, I'll never forget this stuff. I just can't care. I remember like there was another girl from our school who was in a long-term relationship with one of these guys, yeah? But little did she know, which I don't know if she knows to this day. Funny enough, I actually saw her sister the other day. Was it her or her sister I saw the other day? I saw one of them the other day. And they're good peeps, right? Little did she know that he was cheating, right? So he was cheating. They're all this like social media couple. And everybody's all like, and this is all meanwhile, we're all like teenagers, mind you. They're all this like social media couple, blah, 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 blah. He was also secretly sleeping with my friend Becca. Becca, who, by the way, I found out because other girls who used to be in the friendship group basically told me everything one day when I bumped into them, even though they were the ones who turned on me with the Facebook post. Can you understand how just insane all this stuff is? I'm just like, school is just, I don't know why anybody sends their kids to school. So anyways, years after that had passed, right, probably about 2 years, I bumped into these girls, and I feel like there was a part of them that missed the old days when we were all friends, and a part of them that felt guilty. And so we kind of ended up in the end on like reasonable terms, if you know what I mean. Because I'm not very much somebody who holds on to things, you know. I don't see the point. So anyways, these girls, yeah, I bump into them and they're the ones who are telling me all this stuff that was happening that I didn't know about. And so this girl knew she had chlamydia, basically. And so she was sleeping around with everybody and just passing it around. Yeah. Not just that, like they were saying, oh, you know, she doesn't even shower, she doesn't even this. And so they were like basically trying to gossip, but I wasn't seeing it really as gossip. I was more sad because I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like the girl that I knew. And I remember that was when my history teacher said, like, we're coming just up to GCSEs, just like right now they're going to start in May, right? And I remember being in his class and I'm like the last one there of the girl group. And he's like, he said something like, when you and your friends started, like, I never expected that there would only be one of you left, like at the end, you know, kind of thing, which was kind of sad thing as well, because it's like, whoa. And he also started the year we started and left the year we left as well. And he went to Australia, which low key, bro, I understand with a lot of stuff that was going on at the school. So I remember him saying that, and I remember at the time thinking, wow, that's crazy. Like, I really made it here. But then again, it was a good thing because I kind of was just obsessed and I felt the pressure that, like, I have to do well. I have to, like, otherwise, I don't know, all love that I ever get is going to be lost if I'm not achieving everything possible, right? Love must be earned, right? So I'm not thinking that, but that's how I'm reacting, right? And so, yeah, anyways, turns out, which I found out from these girls as well, they were like, yeah, they kind of were mocking it, but I wasn't finding it funny at all. They were telling me, oh, by the way, and ironically, they became friends with the girl who in primary school I was telling you about, yeah? They all somehow end up all coming together like this. So I'm just like, I don't want to have friends in this life. The girl who called me out was like, I think she's stuffing her bra, who stood up and said that, right? Was end up being friends with them. She ended up being friends with them, even though she was from my primary school. She didn't go to the same secondary school we all went to. And somehow they all found each other down the line. And the funny thing about this girl who said this thing about my boobs, she was the only girl who ever beat me in primary school at 100-meter sprint. So I'm thinking, what is the point in this? Like, what is the point in all this? And I was just like, I could not beat her. And I was like, you know what? I know when to take my L's when I need to take them. This is your W. It's not mine. Oh my gosh. Anyway, they all end up friends. So it's all very weird and awkward. Anyway, and now this girl, yeah, every time I see her, because I know where she works, she's so low-key like, hi. Like, oh, it's all so awkward, you guys. But I low-key love it because I love an awkward situation with somebody from the past. Anyway, this video feels like it's so long, but I feel like I'm not talking for that long. Maybe I'll do it in 2 parts. Maybe I'll start with friend number 1, and then we'll circle back to friend number 2. So these girls are telling me that basically her dad was beating everybody in that house up. And as soon as they said that, it all made sense. It all made sense because she was very like, kind of sensitive in a way. And the reason I'm bringing this up is a lot of us get blamed in life for reacting according to the situations that we were in. And I just feel like that's unfair, you know, because yeah, you could say her behavior was whatever you want to say about it, right? But the reality was, at home, the person she should trust the most was the person she feared the most, and not in a healthy way. And her mum was turning a blind eye to all of this. I didn't know about this. And she was just getting herself involved with the wrong crowd. Because I remember one day she had a house party. And yeah, she just really got in with the wrong crowd. Because I would never be able to be around these people. You guys know I've always been somebody that's like, I can't just stand. I don't like to. In my opinion, I think any second, somebody could be taking a picture of exactly what I'm doing right now. So if I even stand next to you for long enough that someone could picture me with you and somehow associate us together, I can't do that. That's why I don't like to stop and talk to people, because like, don't stop and talk to me. I don't want anybody to think we're associated. So, you know, she had this one party, I remember, and it got bad because he had invited like all the wrong people. She was involved with all the wrong people. stayed clear in the midst of all of this, right? And I remember it because I remember at the end the guys were like being violent towards the women as well, like at the party. I saw one guy literally drop kick somebody at like another girl. Like he put one hand on one person's head and one hand on somebody else's head, and then drop kicked. It was insane, right? Because I don't know if either I walked past because she used to live near the school or what, but that's what happened anyway. And so while I'm thinking about it now, it really is kind of a tragedy, like if you think about it, because I remember when we were in our exams and we were starting our exams and it was exam day, and I was thinking, okay, she hasn't been in, but of course she's going to show up because like she could easily, she'll not show up for the lessons, that she's going to do better than I will, right? And she didn't show up and I couldn't believe it. And I was thinking, you couldn't just show up just for this, like just for your, like maybe like your maths exams or for whatever, like you couldn't even just show up, like just cause, you know what I mean? You couldn't even do it. And it's so sad, like now that I think about it, it's so incredibly sad to see like that this is how all of this turned out, because I'm like, oh, you had so much promise, you had so much potential. I was so moved by her conviction, like the way people are convicted about killing animals today. It doesn't really faze me, because I'm like, yeah, everybody wants to be the goody good these days, you know, everybody wants to jump on a bandwagon, everyone wants to be a part of a community, yada yada yada. But this particular situation, it did really move me, because we were young, we were kids, and there was, I think because of the innocence of her situation and everything, it really made me feel like, I don't know how we were at the time. We all had such pure intentions, I guess, in life. And so I really wanted to rally behind her. I was so excited to see her like become a vet one day. Because that's how I am with people when their dreams, like when people tell me about like what their dreams are, I'm invested, like I'm fully invested in the journey. Where do I need to be? Where do I need to sign up? When I have a pet, I'm thinking if I ever have pets, I'm coming to you. I've already sorted my vet for the future. Like this is how I think, because I want to like support everyone. I want to see everybody win. And so it was just so sad that was how everything turned out, you know, in the end. I'm going to do the other one as a separate video, I think, because I think it'd be good. Also, this spot where I've decided to stop and sit is just so hella public that what was I thinking? Speaking of, behind here, and I'm so sad I never got to go there, they used to have a venue, right where this is all boarded up behind me. They used to have a music venue, but it was a very like an indie kind of vibes. I never went in there just because I never felt like I could go there. As strange as that sounds, and I'm so glad they shut it, because it's right by my house. I would be here like every day now, like in my music era, especially the kind of music, because a lot of the musicians, like the band that my producer works with, he's like, yeah, a lot of them, they all used to go here, they all used to play here, and I always used to see it, and I just never felt like I could go in there. Like I just feel, I don't know, it's in my own head, I know, but I do stick out like a sore thumb. It's like when I go to they got a new gaming cafe, and it's so cool. They've got like all the like card games, like Magic the Gathering. They've got Dungeons and Dragons, but they've got anime. They've got everything in there. They've got every kind of game. They've got board games. They've got a whole wall worth of board games. But like I just don't fit the demographic that's in there, and I just stick out like a sore thumb, and I just want to just like swoop in like I'm supposed to be there. So it's a little bit unfortunate. I did go in there, but yeah, I do feel a little bit uncomfortable, because I've been curious. Like, I wonder if they got this manga and that manga that I might go and check. I might just go in there, just push myself, you know. But people do act a bit like, oh, she doesn't look like somebody that would be in here. Dear, oh dear. But yeah, so that's the tragedy. Like, because now that I'm thinking about it, it's really sad. Like, it's really sad. And I believe last time I saw what she was doing, I believe she's on social media now. It looks like her life has kind of leveled off, and maybe she found some kind of healing or therapy, or I don't know. But like, just knowing that the reason why she was even like doing what she was doing in the first place, and like just the environment she was in, and just how we're all just there. Like, this is what I mean when I say at school, it's like we're all just coming from broken places, and we're all just broken, and we're all just coming and sharing and dealing with each other's, you know, issues. And the reason why what my teacher said to me stood out, it's because of the same way that I've now turned on the older generations, because I was always the person that adults would like used as like the one who did what we wish everybody else had done, kind of thing, because that's essentially how he was saying it, as if like, wow, like I made it, I'm the only one who like did it. He's just like almost like he was disappointed in everybody else. And I'm like, I get that, and so was I at the time. And that's kind of what made me turn, you guys. This is what made me turn. And I remember the exact moment I decided to turn on the older generation. I remember because I was backed into a corner where there was the older folks and the younger folks. And it was another episode of the older folks saying to me, oh, I wish my child was like you. I wish my this was like you. If only they did this like you, right? And in that moment, I knew I'm either going to be, I have to make a decision. Like I knew I was in a key moment in my life where I was going to either have to actually choose to keep being the one that gets all the praise from the older generations, but at the expense of literally crushing the spirits of all the other people around me. You know what I mean? Like the other younger people. Because I know the younger people, like I'm in that category. So I see their views, their goals, like the decisions I made. When I decided to study science, it wasn't really because I wanted to. I remember, again, at that point, I was deciding what I really wanted to do, where I studied, sixth form. It was a sixth form inside a college. So if you're not from the UK, I'll just quickly explain that for you. At the time when I went to school, it's changed a lot now, obviously, because the education system is crashing. But at the time when I was at school, pretty much how it worked is, at 16, right, you do your GCSEs at 16, right? That's the basic qualifications. You need like a C in maths and English for pretty much most jobs in life, right? Cool. That's like the basic everybody's supposed to get. That's like, but then really you do however many subjects. Usually between about 11 to 15, depending on what school you go to, depending on your ability, whatever. So then you go to do your A levels, right? Which is for 2 years. Well, you go to do your pre-university, pre-whatever qualifications. So you can do like something vocational. So like you can study hair and beauty, business. You can do science even through that. You can do like a trade. So you could do like carpentry. And then you could also do performing arts or music. And then sixth form, and those you get what you call like a vocational certificate. And it's all very hands-on. Or you do like essentially an extended version of what you just did at school and do these things called A levels, which again, people always respected A levels more than what we call BTECs, right? It's funny in the A and the B of it all, now that I think about it. And that's where you pick subjects, and you usually pick 4. At the time I did them, you pick 4 and then you drop 1 in the second year, right? So, and that's just straight education, exams, you name it, all of which can earn you credits to get into university, right? But some things are more frowned upon than others depending on where you want to go. Like if you want to go to the Oxford, Cambridge, you need to be getting AAA star A level, and so on and so forth. So where I studied, most places, they either have one or the other. So you either have the opportunities to do the vocational studies, or it's a sixth form, right? So it's a college or it's a sixth form. Well, my college had a sixth form in it. So for me, that was the best case scenario, because I didn't want to be in a really serious environment where I have to dress smart. Like at college, I could wear whatever the hell I wanted. So I opted for that option. Now, the reason I did that is I just didn't want to have to deal with the backlash of if I had chosen to do music or performing arts. And I remember specifically watching all the going to the music studios at the college, like when you used to go for like the open days, and seeing how just incredible, and I could just visualize myself being there. Like I could see all the performing arts students, and they all would specialize in one area, and I would see them rehearsing. I saw their schedules of like what their modules were. And honestly, I just didn't have the bollocks to do it. Like, that's the truth. That's the truth. I didn't have the bollocks to do it because I was so scared of like disappointing people by not by not doing what I did do in the end. And this is what I'm saying when I say it's not necessarily a good thing when like why the reasons why people are doing things, you know. And I just want to be very clear that my parents are not the ones who really pressurized me as much as it was the adult population as a whole, right? All the adults around me, because I'm in a lot of spaces where I'm the so-called responsible role model example that people are telling their kids, you know, I wish my child was more like you, this and this. So my parents didn't really put that much pressure, to be honest, about anything. But my mum would just always say, you know, my mum always taught me that your education is something no one can take away from you. And so that was kind of the deciding factor for me, because I was like, this is true. Like, she's like, if you get because her mum said that to her, like, once you get that piece of paper, like, no one can take that away from you. And so that was my driving force to say, you know what? So in the end, I decided to study A-levels, didn't I? Did maths, chemistry, biology, and further maths. And I wrongfully dropped further maths, and I should have dropped biology. In fact, I should have never done biology. I should have done maths, chemistry, physics, further maths, if I was going to do that. So I'm saying all that just to say that, you know, it all just seems very tragic when you look at it all together. And I'm going to give you another story in the next video of another friend of mine who, again, just wasted potential, like, all because of just life circumstances, yeah. And to think, if we had all become what we dreamed of becoming, like, at that age when we all met, because I remember even how I got into dance, like, really seriously. I never considered myself, because I could never afford to go to the dance classes like all the other girls were doing and stuff, is one day those girls were at the dance show rehearsals at the school, and it was on like a weekend. This is in year 7. Excuse me. And me being me, you know, I have no problem just showing up somewhere. So I decided to just show up to like support the girls. So I was just sitting there like in the audience and just supporting the girls. And the PE teacher at the time, the one who taught dance, she's lovely, by the way. She wasn't really that bothered about it. In fact, she was like, hey, why don't you get on stage and learn some of these routines? And it was the first dance I did, and it was a Charleston to that song, Won't You Charleston with me? That one. So funny. And so I get on stage. I'm not even dressed for the occasion, and I just started learning the dances, and next thing you know, I'm in the dance show. And that's how that all started. So I actually have this friend in particular to thank for like even getting me into it, because she was the one like where we would then do because in this dance show, when you think about it, my showcases, I basically emulated exactly this dance show that I was in, because some of the routines were done by our teacher, and then we could also submit routines, you know. And it was the year after that me and the whole girl group did a dance, and there was like, how many of us? And there's like 12 of us in this dance, yeah. And it was so good. And I used to edit the songs together, and our dance was literally 5 minutes long. And it was to Fight for This Love by, what's her name? Cheryl Cole. But then in the ending, I edited in her version she did on X Factor, where she's like, ding, 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 stop, what you looking at? I love that. It's so good. And I remember it was just so good. And to think we had all these memories, it was so much fun. And then obviously me being me, you know, my dad always used to allow us to use the studio for what you call it? For hold on 1 second. Oh, I knew this was a bad idea to come out at this time. Well, actually, I thought I was safe, but I'm not, guys. I'm not safe. Anyway, so I'm not even going to tell. This is not even got time to get into what just happened. Anyways, and so, oh, Lord Jesus, why did this happen? What was I saying now? I'm completely thrown off. Hold on, I'm going to have to come back. anyways, I can't seem to remember exactly where I was in this storyline. But yeah, it's kind of tragic to think about. Oh yeah, saying about the Cheryl Cole dance. Yeah, because I remember, because then the year after that year, the freaking black girls that were all surrounding me talk about, why are you telling everybody you're American? When I never told a single soul, and I don't even know how anybody found out. We're like, oh, we saw your dance last year. It was so good. Do you want to like... And so I ended up doing a dance with them the next year. And that was the next one. Because they did a sick dance as well that year. And so we were like, should we put our heads together? Because they were in the year above. And so that ended up being cool. And then the other friend I'm about to tell you about, when we were doing this whole big collaboration, she didn't want to get involved, yeah? Until she saw us at the rehearsals, and then at the last minute I was like, oh, can I? And I was trying to like push her. I was like, we're doing this thing, you got to be in it, where are you? Like, whatever, the friend I'm going to tape out next, she wasn't there. And then after she saw the routine, she was like, oh, can I be in it? And I was like, look, this is the girls from the year above. What do you expect me to do? It's too late now. I tried to get you in. And so she wasn't in it. And I think that really bothered her. But like, this is what I'm saying. Like, some of these things, I'm just thinking, look, if life's a game, it's played to win. Like, anybody got time? Anybody literally got time to be not taking all the opportunities at hand, whether you think you're capable or not? Because that's the point I'm trying to point out here, is that I didn't feel I was capable of any of these things. And I'm looking at everybody else as more capable. But if I have the opportunity to try, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try at least. The heck? What am I going to do? Say no? What am I going to do? Say, oh, I can't? So, yeah. So, come back to the next part. I'm going to tell you about the other friend, the one I just mentioned, because her whole story is a whole nother thing. And it's just teaching me a lot now that I'm thinking about this as an adult. I think because I know that I'm going to be 30 next year, I'm like really seeing things in a different light. Because as a kid, I just used to think these people were so stupid. Like, as things were happening, I was thinking, what a poor decision. Like, what a bad idea. Like I was saying to that girl when we were like at school, I'm thinking, what a bad idea. Like, and now I'm looking back and I'm like, we were all just actually doing the best that we could, like at that age, and we were doing the best of what we had as children. And we just had this thing called social media that wasn't helping a lot. And yeah, and I have footage of a lot of this stuff I'm talking about as well. This is what I'm saying. This is the generation we grew up in. I have us dancing and doing stuff. So yeah, anyways, guys, come back for the next part. I'm going to tell you about the second tragic story, because these are some of the girls I was the closest to, like as a teenager, like the closest, so who I genuinely thought I'd be friends with for life, and I genuinely thought like we'll see each other at the top together. And I know I talk a lot about, you know, people who lied or betrayed or whatever and all of that as well, who ruined the vibe. But this is also what I mean when I say, I'm like, why can't we all just cross the finish line, like together? Like, and even for me, it's like, I knew that I don't know, since then until now, I just have always known I can't let anything stop me. Like, I can't let anything stop me getting to the top. There's nothing can stop me, not my circumstances, not my past, not my whatever. Because as soon as the thought of lose comes into the picture, it feels like a loss. Like, letting the things of the past change who I am and change my morals and values makes me feel like a loser. I'd rather die exactly as I am, exactly as I see the world right now, without ever having achieved anything more, as I feel like I've already won just by that alone, then I would change my morals and values, which you're going to see is exactly what happened with my friend. This other one, and she was the one I was probably the closest friend I ever truly had, because she used to spend more time at my house than she spent at one of her parents' houses, if that tells you anything. And also, she was a singer, so let's delve into that. Anyways, you guys, if life's a game, let's play to win. I'll catch you in part 2.